All right. All right. Um, hey, hey. And I just realized the Rim Connect thing is turned on. I don't want to uninstall it. I want to disable it. Uh, I don't know. Anyways, well, let me. There. Hey, hello, hello. Yes, I've changed a few things. I know I said I wouldn't do React content, but I don't feel like continuing Dark Souls 2 for the time being, and there's some stuff I want to look at. And this is an excuse I can use for that. So, uh, and I didn't prepare this beforehand, because why would I? I need to remove these. Um, it would just be game capture, right? Because for some reason it considers Opera a game. Nope. Okay. There we go. There. There we go. I also added, if at least I believe I did, added some other, some new voice line, um, redeem rewards. Either yesterday or this morning, I don't remember. Um, okay, it shows it properly. Good. So yeah, because I was looking. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Hold on, I'm on the wrong thing. I was looking, and there was some videos that I found that really caught my eye that I really wanted to check out. And the first one was one came out a year ago, but I only just recently found it, about Goosebumps, the book series. Um, Let me make sure I do this right. It's okay. Um, Subtitles. Okay. I wanted to look at this because Goosebumps, I used to read a lot as a child. I really liked reading, and Goosebumps was definitely the book series that I read the most of and enjoyed the most. I really enjoyed Goosebumps. Um, I'm trying. There's really memorable because there's one I remember in specific that that stood out to me. I don't remember which one it's called, but all I shit you not, all I remember is that near the end of the book, it's like part of this plot is that, like, you go to the camp, and by doing good things, you or whatever, you by winning games you earn points or tokens or whatever. Spoilers, I guess. They earn, like, the characters earn, like, tokens or points or whatever for doing good things. And if they get, I think it was like, if they get 6 or something like that, then they're sent to this special place or whatever to get a big reward. And I guess spoilers, um it's revealed later on, like near the end, that where they're sent when you get the tokens, get enough of the tickets or whatever, is they would the people that got those would then get sent to, I don't remember if it was a cellar or what, but it was some kind of area where there was like a giant blob monster that the counselors that were sent because they earned enough tickets or whatever were sitting there. The scene discussed about how they were cleaning it with mops or something, and how like the room smelled terrible. That one, because of how descriptive it was, that book always stood out to me, and I've loved Goosebumps. Again, it was probably my favorite book series I ever read. So I am curious what happened to it. Um,
You will beware. You're in for a scare.
For those who grew up in the 1990s, the Goosebumps franchise was unavoidable. Originally released as a horror book series for children, Goosebumps quickly grew beyond the world of literature, spawning a television series, games, toys, and loads of merchandise. By the mid-90s, the Goosebumps brand was everywhere, raking in millions.
Okay, no, that's just the quality. Okay, because he's using footage from like the 1900s or something. Okay.
Of dollars for its publisher Scholastic and its author R.L. Stine. But as the franchise exploded in popularity, a legal battle would manifest between Stine and Scholastic, which would ultimately lead to the franchise's downfall. R.L. Stine began his publishing career in the 1970s, serving as the editor for the teen humor magazine.
So just like with so it's just like what's going on with Scream, right? With Scream, it's like the lawsuit or whatever is about like the mask itself or whatever. So it's something similar to that, I assume, but it says lawsuits, so
Bananas, which was published by Scholastic Press. In 1984, the magazine folded, and Stine was encouraged by his editors to dabble in young adult horror, a literary genre sweeping the book world. By the mid-1980s, authors like Christopher Pike and Lois Duncan had grown to prominence, writing paperback thriller novels aimed at teenagers. Stine took a crack at it, publishing Blind Date in 1986, followed by a string of standalone teen thrillers. As his work gained in popularity, Stine and his wife Jane set up a publishing company called Parachute Press. The company worked out a deal with Simon & Schuster to publish their new teen horror series Fear Street, with the first installment, The New Girl, being published in 19...
Schuster. Hold on. Huh. I thought the name sounded familiar, but I guess not.
1989. The series was presented in an anthology style, with each installment following different characters within the fictional town of Shadyside. The series depicted dark themes like murder, hauntings, and psychic phenomena, and by the early 1990s, Fear Street had soared in popularity to become one of the best-selling book series for young adults, with Stine releasing a new book every single month. Around this time, Stine was encouraged by his wife Jane to create a new horror series, this time aimed at children rather than teens. The result was Goosebumps, with Stine lifting the name from an ad he saw in TV Guide.
God.
Like Fear Street, the Goosebumps books would be anthological in nature, with each installment featuring a child protagonist facing sinister supernatural
forces. I'm
forces.
pretty sure. Where is it?
Teens. The result was Goosebumps, with Stine lifting the
one
name
is like
from an ad he saw in
child
TV
of
Guide.
Goosebumps, right?
Like Fear Street, the Goosebumps books would be anthological in nature, with each installment...
Yeah, this one. I don't remember the exact title of it, but if I remember right, this is like the poster child of Goosebumps at this point, right? God, it was... Oh my god, I loved Goosebumps so much.
Featuring a child protagonist facing sinister supernatural forces. Goosebumps' target demographic was children ages 8 through 12, and in 1991, Parachute Press signed a deal with the Scholastic Corporation, allowing them to publish the first 6 Goosebumps books.
Basement! No, I remember Basement! And Invisible. Oh my god, this throws me back. I don't fully remember Monster Blood, but I remember Basement. If I remember right, is like a grass monster or something. And Get Invisible. Oh. Get Invisible, I think, was the first one I ever read. It's been so long I can't remember. The only reason that one book I remember vividly is because of like the big reveal near the end of what the monster was, and how like vividly descriptive it was. Because I'm a very like visual person. Like when I get a good description, I typically end up mentally like visualizing it. And when I read it, like the way I visualized it, it just stuck with me. Hopefully, if he shows the picture of the cover, I'll remember it.
While Parachute would own the series' trademark, the agreement gave Scholastic control over the book's non-publication rights, which would include adaptations, merchandise, and other licensing deals. Additionally, Parachute agreed to a stipulation that said that R.L. Stine
Published 6 Goosebumps books. Contract to exploit certain This agreement also provided Scholastic with the ability to exploit certain non-publications rights. Sounds about right.
would be the sole writer of each installment in the series. The first 2 books, Welcome to Dead House and Stay Out of the Basement, were published by Scholastic in July of 1992. More installments quickly followed, but with limited promotion, the series was not a huge hit right off the bat. However, Goosebumps would benefit heavily from being included in Scholastic book fairs, which took place at various elementary schools across the country. Scholastic had begun doing book fairs in 1981, in which the company would deliver books
and that's
to
actually
school
how I
libraries
found
and
it. If I remember right, the first book, Goosebumps book, I don't remember what the first Goosebumps book I ever read was. It definitely wasn't the summer camp one that I was talking about earlier. But I do know that the first Goosebumps book I ever got was at a Scholastic bookstore at the school that happened at the fuck, I can't speak. A Scholastic book fair that occurred at the elementary school I was going to, which I went to every time it happened because, again, especially when I was younger, I loved reading, and especially Goosebumps. Goosebumps, and there was another series I really enjoyed reading. No, I remember what it is. Captain Underpants. That's the one. Captain Underpants. I remember.
Play them for a full week, allowing students to browse and purchase them. The event was designed to raise money for schools and promote literacy amongst grade school children, also serving as a valuable outlet for Scholastic to promote its books directly to kids. Within a year of its publication, Goosebumps had become a big hit at book fairs, with 1.8 million copies of the series in print by 1993. And though R.L. Stine was already a recognizable name with teen readers thanks to Fear Street, Goosebumps helped him reach a younger demographic, delivering his signature spooky tales to an elementary school crowd. Many applauded Stine for creating content that got children reading. Others expressed concern that the horror themes present in these books were too scary for young readers. But regardless of what parents and critics
Some of his books were pretty descriptive, like I mentioned earlier. Like, if there's one thing R.L. Stine does great with his writing is he does a great job at making it easy to like visualize the words he puts on a page. Hence why some of these stuck, the one stuck in my head. Um, so I could understand the concern. I wouldn't be surprised about that because some of the books he made, some of the Goosebumps books are They are extremely descriptive, so I'm not too surprised that some parents showed concern.
Thought one thing was for certain: children of the 90s loved to be scared, and Goosebumps was delivering the goods. Scholastic and Parachute.
That is I I the only reason that I don't care about her looks. I can't tell if she's, like, really mad or really excited. Like, I can't fucking tell. No, that's why I'm, like, flabbergasted that I shouldn't laugh as a kid, I'm being mean. But, oh my god. Oh, okay, let's let's continue before my face is getting red, let's continue. Okay, please,
Scholastic and
quickly.
Parachute Press quickly renewed their contract, agreeing to publish more Goosebumps books written solely by Stein. And through word of mouth, Goosebumps'
Mm,
popularity grew, agreeing to publish more Goosebumps.
The Ghost Next Door, I remember that one, sort of. It is one of the ones I had and read, I know that for a fact, but I don't remember it.
Books written solely
As
by Stein.
vividly.
And through word of mouth, Goosebumps' popularity grew immensely, with the books in the series consistently hitting the bestseller list. In addition to the original series, the first spin-off book was released in October of 1994, a short story collection entitled Tales to Give You Goosebumps, and the series overall was now outpacing sales of Fear Street. While Goosebumps had grown steadily in its first few years of publication, 1995 was the year that the series exploded in popularity. An interactive spin off book series entitled Give Yourself Goosebumps was introduced, and between the original book series and its spin offs, Scholastic was reportedly shipping out 4 million copies of Goosebumps books every single month, as the series now had over 7.
I never even knew Give Yourself Goosebumps. Choose to Oh, is it like a choose your own adventure type book where you make a decision and it leads to an ending? Oh. I assume that's what it means by You Choose the Scares. It's one of those books where you can, like, depending on the choice you make, it kind of puts you in the seat of the character, and depending on the choice you make, it says, like, "Okay, you chose this choice, go to this page. If you chose this choice, go to this page," and it'll, continue, or I guess in this case, sometimes you might just straight up die. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that Goosebumps did that. Okay.
Million copies in circulation. Fall of 1995 would see the premiere of the Goosebumps television series, produced by Scholastic Productions. The pilot episode, an adaptation of the 11th Goosebumps book, The Haunted Mask, premiered in a primetime slot on the Fox network, before moving to its regular time slot on Friday afternoons during the Fox Kids block. The series received high ratings and positive viewer feedback, prompting the creation of yet another spin-off book series based on the TV episodes entitled Goosebumps Presents. In 1996, Scholastic began releasing episodes of the TV series on VHS, and the franchise was now expanding beyond books and TV, with various products being released bearing the Goosebumps logo.
Where have I seen
In
that?
July, with various
I think I had a poster of this or something similar at some point. Maybe not a poster. I had some that looked a lot like this, but it wasn't of Goosebumps. It was of something else. I was a Goosebumps fan, but I didn't have, like, posters or anything of it. Huh. I don't know, that just reminded me. I could have sworn I had something like that, but it definitely wasn't the one I had definitely wasn't Goosebumps themed.
products being released bearing the Goosebumps logo. In July of 1996, Scholastic announced a $40 million deal with the Pepsi Company to promote Goosebumps through various Pepsi owned products. Miniature Goosebumps books would be included in 30
Pepsi. Pepsi is somehow stripped. Okay. So now Pepsi's somehow part of this. Okay.
million bags of chips, and millions of dollars worth of ads on TV would draw attention to the promotion. Goosebumps merchandise was being pumped out left and right, and brand exposure was higher than ever. The series had begun as an organic word-of-mouth literary phenomena and had quickly turned into a mainstream multimedia brand. And Scholastic as a company had benefited immensely from the franchise, reaching $1 billion in sales and being dubbed the Disney of children's book publishing. But Parachute Press was growing increasingly frustrated by their agreement with Scholastic. In early 1996, Jane Stein, along with Parachute Press executive Joan Warica, attended a meeting with Dick Robinson, the head of Scholastic, in which they asked the publisher to give Parachute control of Goosebumps licensing, along with a $10 million signing bonus. Scholastic refused. The Goosebumps brand, including all of its licensing deals, was now responsible for half of the company's profits. Relations between Parachute and Scholastic quickly deteriorated, with one former Scholastic employee telling the press World War III
Let me see, because I get the picture. I get the picture of what happened.
press was growing increasingly frustrated by
group
their
didn't get
agreement
what
with
they want, and they
Scholastic.
threw a fit.
In early 1996, Jane Stein, along with Parachute Press executive Joan Warica, attended a meeting with Dick Robinson, the head of Scholastic, in which they asked the publisher to give Parachute control of Goosebumps licensing, along
Okay, so Parachute Press, which is the publisher. Wait, no. Parachute Press is the company. Scholastic is the publisher.
attended a meeting with Dick Robinson, the head of Scholastic, in which they asked the publisher to give Parachute control of Goosebumps licensing, along with a $10 million signing bonus. Scholastic refused. The Goosebumps brand, including all of its licensing deals, was now responsible for
Hmm? So a question, if a guy uses a female viewer avatar I'm not doing it to get views. But I could see why you would think that. Does it count as catfishing, or is he just a femboy? Um, that's actually a funny question. I don't know. I just use a female. I use female characters and models all the time. Do it in video games too. Um, shit. If I was doing it to get views, I'd use a voice changer, and I do React content. I don't know if I'd call myself a femboy, but I don't even know what would make you classify as a femboy other than claiming yourself as one. I mean, if I'm a femboy, I'm a femboy, but I don't really see myself as one. Such a random first message chat. I'm sorry, you caught me so off guard. Because that's such a random message. Okay. Sorry, my face is red because of that question. Oh god. Okay. Let me if a guy uses a female VTuber avatar to get views, does it count as catfishing, or is he just a femboy? It's only catfishing if I'm trying to get something out of it. Otherwise, it's I don't know what it is. I'm not really sure. My ears are. I can feel my ears are red. Because that's such a random fucking question, dude. Oh. Okay. Would it count as catfishing? I think I don't think so because I don't advertise myself as a female. I mean, I'd like to think I make it pretty clear in my profile that I'm a male. But I mean, I don't really care. Call me a female, call me a male, call me a fucking toaster if you want. I don't care. Sorry, my mind's super. That's just. It's more just that's like your first message, just out of nowhere. Just startled me, but let's continue.
Half of the company's profits. Relations between Parachute and Scholastic quickly deteriorated, with one former Scholastic employee telling the press, "World War III began that day, and it killed the brand." Despite their differences, the two sides signed a new deal in November of 1996, which gave Parachute control over the negotiation of licensing deals, with Scholastic having the right to approve or deny the deals. The new agreement would allow Scholastic to publish 106 new books from Parachute, and would increase the royalty rate that Parachute was to be paid from Scholastic. But the new contract also contained an important provision that if any of its terms were breached, the agreement would be void and the two parties would revert back to their previous agreements. With the Goosebumps TV series entering its second season, over 40 Goosebumps licensing deals had been secured, and the franchise was hitting a new peak.
Wait. No, hold on. What?
New agreement would allow Scholastic to began that day, and it killed the brand. Despite their differences, the two sides signed a new deal in November of 1996.
Well, I think you say that. I don't really consider myself to have much of a personality, but it's mostly because of personal causes. But I thank you for that as I start to die.
Which gave Parachute control over the negotiation of licensing deals, with Scholastic having the right to approve or deny the deals. The new agreement would allow Scholastic to publish 106 new books from Parachute.
Okay, so Scholastic, the publisher, would have the right to accept or like decide. Just to make sure I'm understanding the right, they would have the right. Oh God, don't fail me
To
now.
approve or deny the
Okay.
deals. The new agreement would allow
To approve or deny deals,
Scholastic to publish 106 new
but
books from
Scholastic
Parachute
would be able to
and would increase
publish
the
106 new books from Parachute, which was the one owned by Stein himself.
royalty rate that Parachute was
Increased
to be
money,
paid
yeah,
from
whatever.
Scholastic. But the new contract
Pay
also
them more.
contained an important provision that if any of its terms were breached, the agreement would be
If any of
void
its
and the two
terms were
parties
breached,
would
the agreement
revert
would
back
be
to their
void,
previous
and they go back
agreements.
to the original agreement.
With the Goosebumps
Okay.
TV series entering its second season,
Okay, I wanted to make sure I understood that right. Okay, I think I get
over
it.
40 Goosebumps licensing deals had been secured, and the franchise was hitting a new peak. But by 1997, the empire would begin to falter as internal and external pressures threatened to tear it apart. In February of 1990,
So I'm gonna I'm gonna peer into my crystal ball and guess what happened is that deal that was just talked about that they did, someone got a little greedy and then things fell apart. That's my guess. That's gonna be my guess is what happened. But we'll see.
Scholastic announced to investors that sales of Goosebumps books were unexpectedly declining, which would result in the company's stock values dropping. The drop in sales was attributed to older Goosebumps books not selling as well as they had in the past. With over 180 million Goosebumps books in print, it appeared that the book series had finally reached the ceiling of its success. The news hit investors hard, with Scholastic stock
Which
dropping
makes sense. Like that's what I'm thinking. I mean that's he clearly said that. That's part of what happened. They're getting greedy. Um that's my assumption is that deal which he said they did do um most definitely fell through, and as he's pointing out now, after that deal it seems things went downhill.
41%. The company's stockholders subsequently filed a lawsuit against Scholastic, charging that it knew about Goosebumps' declining sales months earlier but had deliberately concealed the information. While book sales had dipped, the Goosebumps franchise
Wait, what? No, hold on. What? Hold on.
royalty rate that Parachute was to be paid from Scholastic. But the new contract also contained an important provision that if any of its terms were breached, the agreement would be void and the two parties would revert back to their previous agreements. With the Goosebumps TV series entering its second season, over 40 Goosebumps licensing deals had been secured, and the franchise was hitting a new peak. But by 1997, the empire would begin to falter as internal and external pressures threatened to tear it apart. In February
Sorry
of
for the redo. I'm
1997,
trying to make sure I understand this right.
Scholastic announced to investors that sales of Goosebumps books were unexpectedly declining, which would result in the company's stock values dropping. The drop in sales was attributed to older Goosebumps books not selling as well as they had in the past. With over 180 million Goosebumps books in print, it appeared that the book series had finally reached the ceiling of its success. The news hit investors hard, with Scholastic stock
Which makes sense. There is a ceiling. So from that, you are right, Dino, that part of it is that they accused of knowing books wouldn't sell, but kept it hidden, which doesn't make sense. That's like that that's like trying to use a drill to screw a nail in. Sorry, that's like trying to use a drill. Yeah, that's like trying to use a drill to screw a nail in, and then being surprised and blaming the other person that gave you the nails for not realizing that. That's a terrible analogy, but like I get what the video is saying. Like I get it, but like that's so. I mean, it's a corpo. Their reasoning is always ass backwards, but that's the most ass backwards logic I've ever seen. Why?
dropping
Okay.
41%. The company's stockholders subsequently filed a lawsuit against Scholastic, charging that it knew about Goosebumps' declining sales months earlier but had deliberately concealed the information. While book sales had dipped, the Goosebumps franchise remained strong overall in 1997, as a Disney World theme park attraction opened and the TV series...
I got a great analogy. That's like that's like a company suing. That's like a parent company suing one of the companies it's the parent company of for not for their horror movies not doing as well when they're being made and published, like released during an era when horror movies are on the decline and aren't as popular, and then getting mad at them for it. Like what? That's the comparison I was trying to think of. Like, what? Of course it is. They're not popular. And after a while, people's tastes change. New things come out. What? Okay.
Was moved to Saturday mornings, becoming a top-rated show on the Fox Kids block. But by mid-1997, relations between Scholastic and Parachute had completely soured. The two entities reportedly came to a stalemate over licensing deals, with 16 different deals falling through because of their internal disagreements. In summer of 1997, Scholastic accused Parachute of using unapproved forms to make licensing deals. Scholastic saw this as a violation of their contract, which they said gave them the right to void the current contract and revert back to previous terms. This would mean that Parachute's higher royalty rate, which was negotiated in the newest contract, was also void, with Scholastic halting its royalty payments to Parachute. In response, Parachute Press filed a lawsuit against Scholastic, charging that Scholastic had breached their contract and owed them $36 million in royalties. Scholastic countersued, alleging that Parachute had breached the contract first by hiring ghostwriters to write the Goosebumps books. According to the contract made between Scholastic and Parachute, Stein was to be the sole writer of the original Goosebumps books, though the agreement did permit him to use ghostwriters for books in the spin-off series. According to Scholastic, R.L. Stein did write the first 16 books himself. However, starting with book number 17, Why I'm Afraid of Bees, Scholastic claimed that Parachute began hiring ghostwriters.
Wait, really? Night of the Living Dummy? How does that... What do you mean? How does that look like the Austrian painter? The toy? Oh, Horrorland. I remember Horrorland. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Oh, I shouldn't have skipped ahead.
However,
I don't know,
starting
maybe
with
we
book
could look
number
at that better.
17, Why
So, okay, so what I mean by, like, I've read them all, basically all of these I've read. I do remember Horrorland. But none of these are the one that I remember seeing. Which... Not that I remember seeing, the summer camp one. It was good. All the especially the older, like, the original ones, these ones, they were all good. I've read pretty much all of these. I don't remember Piano Lesson, but I remember all the rest of these vaguely, some more than others. I'm wondering... I mean, it's not necessarily relevant, but the one I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of it. If he doesn't show it in the video, I'll look it up.
himself. However, starting with book
But it
number 17,
was the most
Why I'm
memorable to
Afraid
me,
of Bees,
and he was at a summer
Scholastic
camp.
claimed that Parachute began hiring ghostwriters, who would be given a 10-page outline from Stein and turn it into a full manuscript of around 120 pages. These ghostwriters allegedly made a majority of the creative decisions, while Stein would review the manuscripts and make minimal revisions before publication. Scholastic claims that Stein was working more as an editor rather than a writer, thus breaking the terms of their contract. Scholastic even claimed that the declining sales of the Goosebumps books were a direct result of Stein employing ghostwriters, as they were not able to adequately recreate Stein's unique voice.
Vampire Breath. I think I remember seeing the cover for that, but I don't think I ever watched that, and I've never watched or even heard of those two.
R.L. Stein was releasing 24 books per year, and while some questioned how this was possible, he had always publicly denied using ghostwriters, joking to the press in 1993 that he's much too greedy to hire assistants. But over the course of the lawsuit, Parachute did admit to hiring writer's assistants for Stein, starting with book 17 in the Goosebumps series, in order to meet deadlines and allow Stein more time to make promotional appearances. But Parachute said that the contributions from these assistants were minimal, and that Stein was still making a majority of creative decisions, including coming up with book titles, plots, and characters. Parachute claimed that Stein still had full creative control and was not breaching his contract by using assistants, which they said was common industry practice. With Goosebumps in legal limbo, and both sides retaining some ownership of the brand, it was unknown how things would continue.
I mean, they're technically right. I mean, I'm not a legal person at all, but I don't know. It's kind of a gray area,
October of
but that's also kind of
1997,
abusing a loophole.
Scholastic went ahead and published the latest Goosebumps book, a spin-off entitled Goosebumps Triple Header. The book would include 3 original short stories, being presented by a triple-headed monster named Lefty, Righty, and Slim. Shortly thereafter, Parachute filed another lawsuit against Scholastic in federal court, claiming that the publisher had breached their 1996 agreement and was engaging in copyright infringement with its release of the triple header book. Despite these lawsuits, the two parties were still under contract for dozens of new Goosebumps books. In late 1997, Scholastic stated that it would continue to publish the Goosebumps series as planned, and Parachute agreed to deliver new manuscripts for publication until the courts made their decision. Other spin-off projects remained in development, including a Goosebumps feature film produced by Tim Burton. At the time, Jane Stein was quoted as saying, "It is quite unpleasant, but we still work with them every day." The two companies were still benefiting heavily from the Goosebumps franchise, and both had a vested interest in keeping the ball rolling. A brand new series entitled
Oh my
Goosebumps
God.
Series 2000 was launched. Both had a vested interest in keeping the ball rolling. A brand new series entitled
Oh my God. I
Goosebumps
can't
Series
get past it.
2000
Like sometime this company lawsuit feels like schoolgirl drama. She did that when I told her not to. I mean, that's especially when it comes to publishing rights lawsuits. That's mostly what it is. Yeah, unless it's like a blatant violation of the agreement.
was launched in January of 1998, with one new book being published each month. While sales had dipped from its peak, the books were still selling well, with the new series quickly becoming one of the best-selling book series in children's literature. The Goosebumps TV series also continued to do well, with the show expanding to air 6 days a week on the Fox Kids block. But by 1998, the block overall was succumbing to increased competition, with its viewership decreasing by 30%. The Goosebumps series was renewed for an abbreviated 4th season of just 8 episodes, which aired in fall of 1998. After quietly wrapping up its run on Saturday mornings, Fox began airing reruns on its new cable network Fox Family in the fall of 1999. But Scholastic was not happy with this move, which they said violated their contract. Scholastic claimed that it was entitled to
I
the
see. If something's gonna happen, and they're gonna constantly claim that their contracts were violated, and it's gonna lead to several lawsuits about contract violation. Okay.
profits Fox
I
made
see where
from
this is going.
distributing the series to other TV outlets, while Fox maintained that Fox Family was a part of their network, thus not subject to any further fees. So yet another lawsuit was initiated, with Scholastic suing Fox for copyright infringement and seeking $2.7 million in damages. The TV series continued to air in reruns on Fox Family until 2001, and reportedly sold very well on home video. It's unknown if the producers of the series had any plans to continue with a 5th season, but with such a high-profile lawsuit between its owners, new episodes of the series were out of the question, and the show was effectively canceled. Meanwhile, back in the publishing world, R.L. Stine continued to work on the Goosebumps books, wrapping up his contract with Scholastic as a new young adult series was taking the nation by storm. In 1997, Scholastic spent $100,000 to purchase the U.S. rights to a young adult novel entitled Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Thanks to positive word of mouth, the fantasy novel became a huge hit in England, and the following year, Scholastic released J.K. Rowling's debut novel in America under the title Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Matching its overseas success, the book became a bestseller in the US, topping the New York Times bestseller list in 1999. 2 Harry Potter sequels were published by Scholastic that same year, and though the Goosebumps franchise was still tied up in court, the publisher had found a new cash cow to milk. R.L. Stine and Parachute Press continued delivering Goosebumps 2000 and Give Yourself Goosebumps books, but the writing was on the wall for the series. Sales had declined to just 200,000 copies per month, as the series had been overshadowed heavily by Harry Potter along with another Scholastic young adult series, Animorphs. To put it simply, in the ever-evolving world of children's entertainment, Goosebumps was old news. Moving on from Scholastic, R.L. Stine and Parachute signed a new deal with HarperCollins, which would release Stine's new young adult horror series, The Nightmare Room, along with a brand new 12-book Goosebumps series entitled Goosebumps Gold. HarperCollins initially planned to release both series in the year 2000, with the first Nightmare Room installment being released in August. But in late 2000, the release of Goosebumps Gold was postponed without explanation. Artist Tim Jacobus, who had created the cover art for most of the Goosebumps books, posted a page on his website promoting the Goosebumps Gold series for release in 2001. The website even gave a preview of the first 2 installments, but the series was canceled before its release, likely due to the ongoing litigation between Scholastic and Parachute about the rights to the series. After the final Goosebumps books were published in the year 2000, the series would lay dormant for several years. Scholastic's revenue continued to grow significantly with the Harry Potter series, now a global phenomenon that had far surpassed Goosebumps' success. It wasn't until 2003 that the complex web of lawsuits plaguing the Goosebumps franchise finally came to a conclusion. First, in January of 2003, Parachute Press and Scholastic came to a settlement, with Scholastic agreeing to pay Parachute $9.65 million for the rights to Goosebumps and its trademark. And in June of that year, Scholastic lost its case against Fox regarding the airing of Goosebumps on the Fox Family Channel. The irony is that by the time these lawsuits were settled, much of the public interest in the Goosebumps franchise had died out. As the book series ended in the year 2000 and the TV series stopped airing in 2001, Goosebumps had lost much of the potency that had made it so popular back in the 1990s. However, copies of Goosebumps books still existed in schools and libraries across the world, and new generations of young readers would continue to discover the series for the first time. In November of 2003, Scholastic began re-releasing books from the original series with slightly modified covers. Goosebumps continued to sell around 2 million copies per year, and the franchise overall received a boost when reruns of the TV series began airing on Cartoon Network in 2007. In 2008, Goosebumps was resurrected as Goosebumps Horrorland, a new book series with R.L. Stine at the helm. The series ran until 2012 and was followed by 3 more series, including Goosebumps House of Shivers, which is still being published today. And the long-awaited feature film adaptation of Goosebumps finally came to fruition in 2015 with—
Wait, really? Oh wow, just 3 years ago. Oh wow. I didn't know they were still publishing.
Jack Black portraying a fictionalized version of Stine. To this day, R.L. Stine maintains that he wrote all of the Goosebumps books himself, saying that he only used outside writers to help with the outlines. And while we may never know the extent to which ghostwriters were employed—
7 years ago. Roughly 6 or 7. Yeah. Wow.
It's clear that Stine was always the driving force behind the franchise, creating an iconic world that continues to captivate readers to this day. Over 30 years after its initial inception, Goosebumps is still going strong, pumping out books, films, and TV series. But there's no doubt that Goosebumps' peak as a cultural phenomena was in the 1990s. Before all the hype that transformed the series into a global franchise, Goosebumps was simply a
I'm
book
pretty
on
sure
the
I
shelf.
watched that movie. This one? I'm pretty sure I watched this one, maybe. Dear God. I didn't need to see that. I'm pretty sure I watched this.
Transformed the series into a global franchise,
This is the
Goosebumps
movie,
was
right?
simply a book on the shelf, able to enthrall young readers through catchy titles, imaginative cover art, and engaging plots. While Goosebumps was never high-level literature, it got kids reading, creating a new generation of book lovers and leaving a lasting impression on its audience. While the lawsuit certainly slowed the franchise down, Goosebumps has embedded itself into the fabric of American culture and will not soon be forgotten. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons.
Wow. That... I shouldn't be surprised because that's what fucks over most of it. Wow. Okay. That's... Because I saw it, I saw it on my feed, um, and I remembered about Goosebumps. Again, it was like the book series I read the most of like anything as a kid, and I really liked to read as a kid. So I saw this and I'm like, huh, shit, what happened to Goosebumps? So I really wanted to check that out. Give me a sec. Just so I don't accidentally expose anything that I don't want to. But that I can still put this link in the chat. That was the main reason. Is it just I saw it in my feed, and it just, oh my god, it just sent me a blast from the past. Um, no, I don't. Um, I was hoping that would have turned off by now. But what am I getting a text about? Oh, yeah, when is it? That's fine. That's fine. We'll see about tomorrow then. But wow. Yeah, that's such a shame. I loved Goosebumps, and it's sad to see what happened to it. Um